If you are interested in acquiring any of my Overkill's tutorial guides from Microsoft Flight Simulator, or simply interested in supporting the channel, please consider joining us on Patreon. Patreon subscribers level tier 2 and above have access to all of my guides, as well as any future releases that come down the road. Patreon link can be found in the description below. What is up, my sim junkies, and welcome back to the channel. And today we are going to be talking about this guy. I've done a review on the RJSimtech R3, or R3, I think it's R3, TrackIR headsets before. But I've recently received 3 or 4 different emails, a couple of Discord requests, and some comments on old YouTube channels asking if I still swear by these. And so today we're going to talk about it. TrackIR is absolutely, in my opinion, still the way to go for anything outside of virtual reality. Now, I have Tobii 5, or Tobii 3, whatever the heck it is. I get all these numbers mixed up. I have the Tobii eye tracker actually attached to this monitor that's right behind or in front of me here, and that is the Samsung Galaxy G9 49-inch super ultra-wide monitor. And it works fine. It really does, and it's not even supposed to work with that. So giving that a compliment right out of the gate. However, for 2D head tracking, I still think TrackIR is the best way to go. Now, to give you guys a little bit of background, for those of you who have never seen my previous content on this particular headset, I started with the Natural Point TrackIR 5 headset, just like most of us, and went through 2 different cameras from them and 2 different headsets. And although the tracking on them was always spectacular, I never had any problem with the tracking from the Natural Point TrackIR 5. I absolutely had issues with functionality. I had issues with the camera lasting, as I said. I had issues with the headset itself being very flimsy and cracking on one of them. Now, of course, each one of those things, the cameras just died. But the headset that I went through that broke, unfortunately, had fallen on the floor with my headset, with my earphones, and took a dive, and you know how that goes. So, why this? I went from the Natural Point TrackIR 5 to trying to do my own, to doing the whole DIY 3D printed, made my own LEDs. I've got a couple of videos on my channel here about how to do it yourself if you're interested in doing something like that. I even did a couple of different reviews on other brand makers of TrackIR infrared headsets, I guess, if you will. These were the best. RJSimtech headsets, I really, really enjoy. And let's start talking about some of the features that I really, really like. First off, there's 2 different variants of it. You have the super ultra light, which is this one here. And it is extremely light. It is very, very light. It has a slightly less battery time than the other one that I'm going to show you guys here in a minute that I actually use on the daily basis when I do my 2D tracking. But this one is very, very nice. Let me give you guys up and close with it. Let's actually turn it over so it's facing right. And if you guys ask him, if you guys are interested in purchasing, you guys can actually use the Overkill code at the end of your checkout. If you just type in Overkill, you'll get 10% off of these, by the way. That's there's no expiration on that. That's just tossing that out there in case you decide to go this route. But these are very, very nice. Very well built, thick plastic, fully adjustable. The nice foam pad makes it really nice against your headset with the Velcro strap tie down. Makes it universal to just about any headset you could put it on. The infrared tracking is the best that I have ever used, and that's one of the big kickers to these ones. I can go darn near chin, shoulder to shoulder without losing any tracking on these. The thing I like about the super ultralight is it does have the charging port in the back of it, which means if you want to, you can actually run a USB-C cable up to it and have it behind you. I have been able to use it while playing before, although it's very, very, very rare that I've ever ran into a dead battery. I think I've ever had a battery die on me twice in a year and a half now of using these consistently. Now, the one that I use is this one here. Okay, so you can see it's got a bigger battery pack in it. It's got a longer game time life. The switch and charging port are up front, so it doesn't make it particularly useful when it comes to charging while playing. That part is kind of a drag, but this particular one, I have never had die on me. Now, one of the things that I really enjoy about these also is the adjustability. Based on where you want it on your headset, you can also adjust its angle accordingly based on where you have it placed or what type of headset you have, what your angle may be that you need to adjust it to. These things are, as I said, extremely well built. That's the other big thing that I really like. This one actually just last week fell down on my cockpit behind me between my collective lever and the seat. And I put the collective lever down on it and I heard a horrible noise. I was sure I broke it and I still don't know what I heard. But as you guys can see, it's still fully intact. Nothing's wrong with it whatsoever. Works flawlessly. The second thing that I really, or I should say the next thing that I really want to talk about when it comes to this headset is developer communication. If you try to reach out to Natural Point, you can talk about the TrackIR 5. You open up a support ticket. You may receive a response that same day, but it's probably not going to be very thorough. And I mean, honestly, for me, when I first had issues with my camera, it took them 3 days to respond to me. And that's not to be unheard of. They have a much larger user base. They've been out for a much, much longer time. I get it. That's not a shot at them. It's just stating what my experience was. And anytime I've ever had to reach out to this developer, he's been on point. He has a Discord. You can reach him through Discord and speak to him directly. He has a support page on his website. You can reach him through Etsy, which is what he uses for his purchase site. So there's plenty of different means of communication, and he's always been very, very prompt and very, very responsive. And I've actually talked to him on a personal basis, just shooting the junk with him. And he's a very, very nice guy, very, very on point, not looking to rob anyone blind. I mean, obviously doing this to make some money, turn it into a business, and definitely offers a lot of competition out there when you figure that the Natural Point 5 TrackIR set, I believe right now is running close to $200 US, where these, I think, this one, I believe the big one, I think is around $80 US. Now, remember, if you guys choose to go that route, on checkout, type in overkill as your coupon code and you'll get 10% off. So keep that in mind. Save you a couple bucks there. Now, people, again, going back to the initial question, do I still swear by TrackIR? And the answer is yes. When it comes to 2D tracking, I think TrackIR is the way to go. And in conjunction with these particular headsets, the reason why is my biggest advantage, the thing that my two big selling points to these are A, that they're completely wireless. I love that they're wireless. They work in all kinds of lighting. I have never had any lighting issues. I've got a ceiling fan above me. I've got 2 lights behind me. Oftentimes I'm using the flash on my camera right here as I'm talking to you guys. And I've never had any kind of interruption. I have windows behind me very often when I have my office doors open. And that will obviously create some backlight that I can even see in the TrackIR camera. I'm using, it's so weird when you're looking in the reverse. That one right there. There it is. That is actually a PS3i camera with a tint film over it to block all of the light sources. And when I have my doors open to my office, the living room window will shine through it and you can actually see that in the camera. And still, I don't have any issues with tracking with these. So the tracking is very, very strong and it's very, very wide. And then again, the durability. These things are beefy. And I actually had the pleasure of using his original versions and they weren't as beefy. I actually had one break on me. Explained the situation to him, told him what was going on. He turned around and sent me another one. Now, I wouldn't expect that in every single scenario. It's obviously going to be very scenario specific on whether or not there's a replacement involved. But the fact is that he's communicative. And that's everything to me. Communication with your user base, being available to answer questions, being available to troubleshoot and explain why something is working, why it's not, is a big deal if you're going to sell a product. So that's another big selling point to me. To me, that is a selling point. I want to be able to talk to you if I'm having a problem. And with RJSimtech, you can. Again, Discord, 2 different websites in which you can reach him at. So that is a big plus to me. And of all the headsets that I've used so far, these are just the best. They are not the only option. I know they're not the cheapest option. So I know that there's plenty of people who always drop in the comments, oh, that's a ridiculous price, blah, blah, blah. They're so much cheaper. This is better. We each have our personal opinions, guys. And that's all I'm doing is giving you my opinion. Okay. I'm not receiving any free product from him anymore. These are headsets that I've had for over a year now. I am merely answering the question at this point. So I don't have any benefit, before you get the people who say, oh, this was a paid review. No, it wasn't. This is actually a review that I'm doing because my user base, I got multiple people asking if this is something that I still swear by. And it is. to answer you guys' question. So you guys know me. If you guys have been following my channel for any length of time, you know that I have no problem calling out developers. I have no problem calling out flaws. I have no problem, whether it's free or not, saying when I don't like things. To point something out, just so you guys have that frame of reference. If you haven't seen it, I did I'm not going to call it the VR headset in this video, but there was a VR headset that was given to me. It is expensive, not too long ago, that I actually recommended against. So I don't have a problem calling people out even when something is free, guys. I just don't. I come from a history of not coming up with a lot of money, so every dollar that I spend is meaningful. We all work and work hard to earn our money, and I value your dollar just as much as I value my own. I don't want to push any product that I would not back myself. If for any reason this thing broke and I didn't have any kind of replacement, and the developer's like, sorry, Mike, I've already sent you a couple, got to pay for this one, I would pay for it in a heartbeat. I would. It's really nice. They feel comfortable. They feel great. They're light. They have a long lifeline. The tracking is phenomenal on them. They're really solid all the way around. I really enjoy the adjustment factor that I was showing you guys earlier. That's a real kicker to me. Because of the way it's designed. I mean, look at that. Nice nut and bolt configuration with a tensioner. So you get that real nice solid feel. There's no part of this that feels flimsy. I mean, look at this. You can't bend it. You can't rock it. The IRRs, like you guys can hopefully see, I'm pulling on it. Everything's nice and solid. So it's very, very well built, very, very clean design, very, very strong design. And that was probably one of my biggest issues with, like, for example, the original TrackIR 5 that I mentioned before. It is super flimsy. For any of you who own one, you guys know you can bend the crap out of those things. So if it falls on the floor or something like that and you accidentally step on it, you know you're going to break it. Now, this one, I still wouldn't recommend dropping it on the floor. I wouldn't recommend throwing it across the room, and I certainly wouldn't recommend stepping on it. When this one got pinched the other day between my collective, I was sure that I broke it. I got lucky. Let's just call that what it is. There's no reason this arm should have survived that. It was pinched between two metal pieces, but it did. Anyway, so I just want to take a quick moment, you guys, a quick few minutes, I guess, and sort of just reaffirm where I'm at with TrackIR these days. I do think that infrared tracking is still the best way to go for 2D tracking. However, there are plenty of us who don't like to wear earphones, you don't like to wear headsets, you don't want to deal with cameras and TrackIRs and infrared, blah, blah, blah. So in that case, I would say that, Tobii is still a very viable solution. I just think that TrackIR is the better way to go. I think the tracking is smoother. The configuration is easier. It's more compatible, especially, for example, like I can tell you right now that with Tobii, it is not recommended for large screen monitors, which means it's also not recommended for multiple screen configurations. So like my triple right behind me, that's why Tobii is on this monitor and not on the cockpit behind me. Tobii's on this one here because over here, it is absolutely recommended not to use it. And I imagine it has to do with the interference and the glare between the two side monitors coming in on the Tobii eye tracker. So 2D, especially on triple setups, is definitely the way to go. Or TrackIR on 2D triple setups is definitely the way to go. And if you're going to go that route, I recommend the RJSimtech headset. They are the best that I have tried. I have tried quite a few. I've been doing this for 10 years now as far as TrackIR goes of some sort. I've used a lot of different designs, a lot of different configurations, and it is the best that I have personally used. Guys, feel free to toss out any other suggestions or recommendations. I don't ever shoot that down in my comments. You're not going to see me delete things like that. I'm just giving you my personal opinion as I always do. I hope you guys find some value in this video. As always, folks, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you guys in the next one.